Coming soon
replicate our
on
chef dish
TV.
Whoa. Are you deaf?
You deserve better.
Yeah.
The payment, yes, I'll send you shortly.
Boys, do your job.
God, let me call my lawyer. Wait. Let me call my lawyer.
In other news now, the Anti-Corruption Commission has arrested several top public officials at the Revenue Authority. The commission also wants to get to others as it tightens its belt in the fight against corruption.
Sign here, here, and here.
The fight against corruption is just another phase of that corruption.
We need to be more careful with the mix.
We've been waiting for this promotion for 2 years now.
Babe, some things just take time.
They want to receive the payment for their taxes, yeah?
Funga hivi tuwe.
I trust Mr. Manyara.
I have your back. I'm going to hold you to that, by the way.
If I go down, so do you.
Powerplay. Coming soon on CAC TV.
A very good evening to you. Welcome to Powerbrief. Tonight we discuss government regulations on businesses, and we look into different topics. One, we look into betting, and two, we look into consumables. We are privileged to have Mr. John Kamau, who is the Chief Executive Officer of SMS Africa. We also have Mr. Andamo Loch, who is a youth leader with the Nairobi County Government, and currently he's serving at the National Youth Advisory Board representing Nairobi County. Welcome, gentlemen, on the show.
Thank you.
Karibu sana. Now we look into government regulations. World over, these are requirements by the law to regulate businesses. And in our Kenyan context, last year in July, we saw the case of the Minister of Interior coming closely to monitor the matter of betting. Some companies were laid off and others remained. Mr. John Kamau, what was the genesis of all this matter?
I think the issue was suited on taxes. Was the main reason. But the issue was how they were collecting taxes. So later on they realized that the system wasn't right, and they came on running to the betting companies claiming huge taxes. But I think this was a loophole from the system itself. So what they did wasn't right, especially because not all the companies were not tax compliant, because some were. But on the 1st of July they closed all the companies. And I think this is not in accordance to law. But I can say it was all about taxes, and it wasn't right.
Mr. Loch, as a youth leader, what led to the closure of some of these betting companies?
First of all, let me say thank you for giving us this opportunity at least to discuss these matters. I think on the matters of betting, we realized that the betting companies had employed most of our youths than the government itself. And when it came as a reprieve to the unemployment rate unto which our young people were in. I'm not saying that through betting people got employment, but I'm trying to say that at least through betting people got something to earn. About the regulations, of course, in each and every sector, there must be policies and regulations that are governing that sector. And the government did not foresee how these betting companies will be very big and very great in this country. For instance, when we speak about some betting, especially sport pesa. It came and actually financed most of our EPL teams in the EPL match standings. And we realized that they were collecting a lot of cash from us. Now the issue of tax, some of the government officials say that these companies are not giving enough tax vis-a-vis what they are collecting, and that's prompted on maybe the regulations and maybe some companies being laid off. But I think we read some mischief. Of course, there's Kenya, and things are not just done; things are planned to happen. And we heard some companies crying foul that they are being targeted because of maybe it was as in like a political witch hunt.
We are soon coming into that. Mr. Kamau, your company SMS Africa undertook some research over this matter when it arose. Now, this notion that betting affects only the youths and male, is it true?
I've seen it with also the ladies. It's not a male thing, but of course from the genesis of betting, you can relate it to male gender. But with time, it has grown to even affect women. And I guess the only way we should take betting as a way of entertainment, the same way we take other drugs that are not healthy to our lives, but they are prescribed by government as good for you, especially for taxes. So betting is a form of entertainment, not only for men but also for women. But it's creeping back to women. It started with men, but as time goes by, so many women are being now diffused into the system.
Mr. Oluoch, besides entertainment, what Mr. Kamau has talked about, and also other motives, what do you think is the core motive of Kenyans participating in betting? Where you wake up, someone is talking about it in the morning, in the evening, and what have you?
One, as I had said before, it's about unemployment. The youth are trying to become creative on how they'll get at least something on the table. And two, I don't say that those people that bet are lazy, but it encourages laziness because people will say, no, today I will not go to work, I'll just sit in the house and bet because it only requires an internet and a phone to do so. And lastly, I think people have lost hope with life because most of them, when even in a certain scenario, you'll get someone, if he earns 200 shillings, he'll go directly to bed so that it can generate a lot of money than him going to buy food and other stuffs. So I think the core motive of this betting is unemployment in Kenya and the laziness that it comes along with it. I'm not saying it's bad, but I'm not encouraging it, especially for the younger generation. You know, there is no economy that is grown based on the betting companies, on betting.
Sure, we'll cross there, or else we'll be finding way forward. Mr. Kamau, an understanding of betting, does it rely on luck or how intelligent someone can learn the system as it goes to win and to get those huge amounts, so the jackpot and what have you?
So I can say that they are winning in betting, and it's so much of it. The issue is that the players keep on reinvesting. So you win now, you for example deposit 200, win 500, but you don't want to be comfortable with 500. So you take it back to get 1,000. If you happen to win the 1,000, you take it back to win more. So at the end of the day, the house would always win, but that doesn't mean players don't win. They win, but the issue they keep on reinvesting. In the process of reinvesting, they will lose it, and that's why as from the gambling community, we say the house always win. And a win for a player is a postponed win for the house. Yeah.
Mr. Oluoch, as a person who has interacted with youth in different capacities in the field and what have you, what brings in a difference between when someone is betting and someone is running also on the field, maybe marathon, and they get some presents, they get to win? What is the difference? Because as we move further, we shall be seeing the condemnation that the youths have been going through, or those that participate in betting.
You know, first, as an individual, I don't take betting as a gift or as a talent. But when one goes to a field and runs, he's trying to put an effort and he will get a reward later on. in running, there's a lot of chances that you may win and you may get some gift or some token. But in betting, there's no guarantee that you will win and get it. It's a gambling. It's either you put your money there, it brings back something, and as Jonas said, you might get 500 and be tempted again to go and put that 500. It goes. We've seen a lot of people hanging themselves because of this thing. Someone gets maybe a salary, or a student in school gets a help, or a parent gives him money. Then he goes, then he says he wants to bet with it around 70,000 for the entire semester. Then it goes with gambling. Then he hangs himself or goes into depression. So there is a very difference between that talent, for example, a footballer who is in the pitch, and that marathoner who is running on the field, than vis-a-vis the one who is going to gamble and getting some token. So I think the one that has a gift, a talent, is way much better than this one who is just gambling.
Yeah. Mr. Kamau, is there a way, as the government was talking of regulating this aspect of betting? Actually, it lies under them because they have got that monopoly. The law allows them to regulate, to say, let's move towards this direction, let's move towards that direction. But now, as this happened, you see the government comes to do it, but people can still do it behind, mtu anaweza ingia chini ya kitanda akafanya, you know, the online sites, they are not fully contained. Okay. What are some of these agreements that these people were supposed to do so as to ensure that they don't hurt the citizens and at the same time the government does not lose a war?
I think the issue that they will face, because they've put up a stiff laws on betting, and the issue will be that what is developing right now is illegal betting. Illegal betting in the sense of there are payment options that have grown in Africa and also in the world. Talk of bitcoins, talk of Netra, Skrill, and all these form of payment. This is making it able for a player in Africa to place a bet on a site floated, for example, in Malta or in Cyprus. So in long run, we are losing even the taxes, because players who are good on the internet are able to place bets on overseas sites. So I think the only thing that the government is in control of is the mobile money payment option, M-Pesa. But think of all these other payment options, because players will keep on using them, and in long run we are losing a lot more than we are gaining with the stiff rules. Going to our neighboring countries like Uganda, there is so much of betting in Uganda, but what is generated back to the economy by betting in Uganda is so much, because for them betting happens in shops. So for that shop you have several cashiers, you have a security guard, and you're also paying rent, paying for power, and all those things. So what goes back to the government and community is so much as compared to us, because the only thing that in Kenya, because of the development of M-Pesa and internet, all the betting is happening online. So you'll find a company run by only 7 or 10 people, but that company is able to generate in a single month over 50 million. So the people who are receiving money as employees are only 10. But what goes out, and very few companies in Kenya, I'll say two, I won't mention the names, have been able to build their own in-house solution. All these other solutions are coming from the European countries. So in long run, most of the amounts that we raise from betting are taken back to other countries. Yeah.
This matter, Mr. Oluoch, you've talked of depression. Actually, we've even had suicide cases, addictions, and what have you. You meet someone on the road, alieka 5,000 ikamletea 50, akasema acha nijaribu round hii nipate 1,000,000, and then things goes south. How do we approach this matter to ensure that we don't lose lives, lose families, and all this that is happening?
First of all, youth should understand that you cannot grow bananas and expect to harvest maybe ndumas. Let the youth know what they are involving themselves. It has the repercussions. In everything that we do, there must be a consequences. And for us to do things, we need to be prepared for them. If we are placing a bet, let us be sure and make sure that we are placing these bets because we know we will either win or lose. So at least we prepare our mind psychologically at the way end. And again, the young people should understand that it's not necessarily that if you have 50,000, we place all of it. You know, even some of these companies, in terms of shares, they don't just put all their shares in one basket. Some of them, they split their shares. So the youths need to be very smart. You know, sometimes betting is good. Sometimes it generates a lot of money. That's why a lot of people are engaging in it. But at most of the time, the way John has said, the sole beneficiary is the owner of that site, not you as a gambler. Because most of the time, you'll place like 4 bets, you lose like 3, you win 1. Then this one that you've won will motivate you again to come and place another 5 bets. The one that again you lose around 4, then you win 1. So it fluctuates that way, that way, that way. So this is the system that generally plays with people's mind, you know. So at the end of the day, when you want to place a bet or anything that you want to do in life, be prepared of the consequences, either good or bad. So young people should prepare themselves mentally that maybe if they play this bet, something may go sour. And how are they going to control or to make sure that they come over it? That's the only solution.
Mr. Kamau, when this debate came up last year, the government gave a suggestion that moving forward, they were thinking of coming up with a national betting something where the government will be in full control, not leaving it to private investors. And there are those who read malice in this whole matter, and they say, now, if you're saying this thing is bad and you want to do it, how is it going to be? How far did this matter go?
I think before I respond to your question, I've always been against nationalizing such businesses. And not only such businesses, all kind of parastatals that we have in Kenya have been faced by issues of corruption. So I wouldn't support that they take betting as a national parastatal. It's very wrong. Because as I said, it provides a lot of employment to people and also to investors. It also motivates young people to also engage in betting, not as gamblers, but also as the owners of those solutions. Because betting has a lot of aspects. Because there are people who sell SMSs, there are people who provide solutions, there are feed providers, there is mobile money payment options, there are employees, there are shops, you need computers in those shops. So it involves a lot. And this creates a lot of employment to the youths, and they can indulge in providing in solving problems faced by those solutions that are meant for gambling. So that matter was proposed on the BBI. Actually, it's on BBI. Of course, we've not taken BBI as raw. It's still under discussion. And I'm hoping at the end of it all, we don't take gambling as a national parastatal. It should be very long, because we need these for the youths. Because even in most of the corporations that are dealing with betting, you cannot employ someone who is 60 years to come and run it, because they don't understand the vices of betting. It's us who follow Manchester United, follow Arsenal, follow all these teams. So these are things, these are entertainment aspects of life that it's only us below 35 years that can understand. So I believe it should be left for the private sector, and of course open to everyone.
Thank you, gentlemen. We go for a short break. But as we come back, we'll be looking into ways that this matter can be discussed amicably and find a proper solution, avoiding condemnation, a lot of suspicion between the clergy, between the parents, students, and even youths among themselves. You can engage us on our social media platforms, our Facebook, KAK TV Kenya, Twitter handle is KAKTV_Kenya, and you can also stream live on our YouTube channel.
Are you looking for a reputable school to guide you in pursuing your dreams in nursing? Look no further. PCA Kikuyu Hospital School of Nursing is accredited by the Nursing Council of Kenya to offer Diploma in Community Health Nursing. With a mean grade of C plain and above, we will walk with you through your journey to pursue your dreams. We are located in a serene environment conducive for learning. At the heart of Kikuyu Sub-County neighboring Alliance Boys and Girls School, we also pride ourselves for having a fully equipped modern library with e-learning facilities, quality qualified and committed lecturers, comfortable and learning-friendly lecture rooms. At the state-of-the-art Skills Lab, spacious student hostel with excellent accommodation facilities, and chaplaincy staff at the hand for spiritual and pastoral care. April 2020 intake is currently ongoing. To register, apply to the principal, PCA Kikuyu Hospital School of Nursing, through email nursing@pcakikuyuhospital.org. For more information, call the numbers on your screen.
Have you ever dreamed or imagined of owning a prime property in the fastest growing areas in Kenya today? The PCEA Cooperative Society Limited is making your dreams come true. We have plots along Kangunda Road at Kantafu, Juja Farm and Thika Municipality. All the plots have ready title deed and ready for development. For booking and reservation, call us on 0708-145-222 or shoot us an email at pceahousingltd@gmail.com. PCEA Housing Cooperative Society Limited is turning your dreams into a reality.
Kenya is beaming with marvels both natural and man-made.
I want to know what happens here.
The whole point was to make a consignment shop for all the hand weavers.
What if I teach people how to cook? Would have even thought that Kenya produces wine.
From breathtaking national parks, wow, beauty parlors.
Where else in this city would you find a spa and salon that takes care of the ladies only?
Fitness centers.
Try. There you go.
Indoor recreation.
Look at this place. I need a change. That's more like it.
Great architecture and world-class restaurants.
Oh! Hii ni yale mambo nilikuwa nimeshasema.
This show strives to showcase and profile the best that Kenya has to offer in all aspects and industries.
See?
This is the best of.
Many thanks for tuning to CAC TV and watching Powerbrief. And tonight we are looking into government regulations. Remember, the government has got the monopoly to direct you on what to consume, what not to consume. And even it goes further by directing companies, productions and producers into what they're supposed to produce and what they're not supposed to produce. We are privileged to have Mr. John Kamau, the CEO of SMS Africa, and also Mr. Oluoch, who is the youth leader of Nairobi County. Gentlemen, before we went for a short break, we were looking into this thorny matter where a number of youths have found themselves into a crisis. Unaona wanasema unakaa zombie, unaamka asubuhi, kazi yako ni kubet and what have you. Mambo inakuwa namna hiyo. But again, remember, we are in a society and we have to find ways on how to address a problem when it comes to avoid rebellion. What do we do to ensure that we do not sink them into more troubles?
First of all, I would like to start by disagreeing a little bit with John from what he said before, that we should not nationalize the betting issue. I think the only way we can tame this thing is to make sure that we have a strict law followed by the government of Kenya, so that at least we regulate it. You know, sometimes private sectors get their way out, as in they have their ways of doing things. But when it comes, then you say that this thing will be regulated by the government of Kenya. Even if there is something wrong, the government of Kenya will be held eligible. It will be very good. So I think on my side, for us to make sure that we have these, it's a very big industry. It creates a lot of revenue, a lot of money. So for us to harness this opportunity, let us allow the government of Kenya, through nice policies that maybe they will be legislated through the National Assembly, to make sure that we have strict policies that will govern this betting industry. When you leave it to the private sector, maybe the taxes will not, it is a multi-billion industry and it has a lot of good revenue into our country. So when we leave it to the private sector, maybe at some particular time, they might go and try to get away with paying the taxes, and the government of Kenya will not get the benefit directly.
So Mr. Loch, what you're trying to say is that our focus, or the country's focus, should be on taxes or the welfare of the people who are betting, of the citizens?
Well, I think for us gambling is good, of course, but it has, out of maybe 1 million people that bet, very few people win. Very few win. So it is good, yes, but it has benefited lesser people than is expected. So what I think is, if the government can come strongly and try to bring strict measures into this, it will discourage some of those young people that are lazing around waiting for just betting. So for the way of discouraging them, at least people will go and find something else to do. So if we have good policies that will make sure the government is adhering to them to the latter, I think at the end of the day, we will not have these loopholes, a lot of loopholes in the betting industry. We will have a very good structured industry that is run and the government is following and oversighting it. I think by then, the cases of maybe depression and suicide and all this, what have you, will come down. The only reason as to why these people get into depression is that someone else won and I've got this money, I want to win also, that notion. And a lot of people are getting into gambling because some other people are doing it. So if we bring strict measures onto this and discourage our young people, because most of the young people nowadays, they don't want to go and do mjengo. You'll get our mamas and old women are the ones that are at mjengos, and these are the ones that are in the social looking for works. A lot of our young generation are seated at home or at the gambling spaces, trying to gamble their way out. And even if you see there are a lot of people that are engaging themselves in theft, especially in towns or even in homes, there are these people that are going to gamble. Someone comes and steals your phone, goes and sells it, then that money uses to place a bet with it. Then it goes. Then tomorrow is encouraged again to come and steal again from someone else, and so forth and so on. So I think the government should come in handy and make sure that it strictly adheres to the policies that has been legislated from the National Assembly, to make sure that they control fully the gambling sector, just the way the film and classification board is. The way, if we could have not been having such a board, I think we could have gone outside our way. But because we have it now and the government is following it to the letter, I think we have a very good film.
Thank you, Mr. Oloch, on that contribution. Mr. Kamau, still on regulations. Last year, months before this crackdown came about to betting companies, a company which we will not name was given an award for being the highest taxpayer for 3 years. Then few months down the line, the same company was shut down, I think up to now, and it was said that they were not repaying taxes.
I think the issue, and first to answer my brother here, I think the government has been more focused on raising taxes from all these businesses, forgetting the nationals, forgetting the patriots, because strict, and probably the most strict in Africa. Currently, we are paying around 55% of our GGR to government, because we have gaming tax, we have betting tax, we have withholding tax, and exercise duty. So with exercise duty is around 16.67% of all stakes priced. So if you price a stake of, for example, 1,000 shilling, 833 is what would remain as your stake. The rest is taken off to be submitted to government. If you win as a player, I'm still talking of a player, if you win, they take an extra 20% of your winnings. So the winnings, if you win 1,500, they take 20% of that amount to government. And then from that, gaming companies are supposed to pay betting tax 15% and gaming tax 20%. So at the end of the day, if you do an accumulation of all these taxes, you find you're paying around 55 to 60% of your gross gaming revenue back to government. So I think that is enough strictness to gaming companies. I don't think we can say that the rules have not been stiff on betting companies. But the issue is, have they sensitized the youths? Are we telling the youths, just bet with amounts you can afford to lose? Are we telling them how to control it? And I was surprised, and I'm still surprised to date, that nobody has started counseling on betting victims. Because all these people that you're talking of killing themselves, I think these can be stopped by talking about gaming in public barazas, in chiefs barazas. We should also be having specialists from the gaming board going to these barazas and the villages and universities talking about this vice. Let us understand that betting is big, but should be taken as a way of entertainment. It only goes to us when we take it as an employment opportunity, because if you wake up and you get your 100 and start pressing bet and you believe that you are working, that is very wrong. So let's take it as an entertainment and companies and merge them into one. That would be wrong, because as I said, of all the parastatals we've had in government, none of them at this moment doesn't have a scandal. Talk of as old as companies like Kisumu Molasses. Talk of any other companies that you can think of. Parastatals, or involved in road, in procurement of government infrastructures, everything. So let's have the betting, but let's keep it to the private sector. If the government wants to do betting, yes, they can do a national lottery. And our brothers in Ethiopia are doing the same. Rwanda are doing the same. South Africa are doing the same. So we can have a national lottery that involves only the number games. But for sport betting, we need at least the private sectors to also come in.
Thank you, Mr. Kamau. Now, as we move on, comment is coming from one of our viewers. And still on government regulations, Mr. Oloch will come in strongly here. Someone is asking about unga. That at one point the government regulated, wakasema around 17 brands of unga were containing a lot of aflatoxin. Those unga were banned from the shelves in the supermarkets, and then after a while they saw them again, and even they're consuming. Even tujui Mr. Kamau anakula nini, and even yourself. What comes of this? You stand a better position to answer it, being in the National Advisory Board.
You know, being a Kenyan is, I can say, is a better way of saying dying 1,000 times.
Are you a Kenyan?
Being a Kenyan. I'm a Kenyan. And it's very much relatable, especially in our industries and in our government agencies. It's so sad that 1 month someone says we should consume this, in the next month it comes and tells us that it has aflatoxin and what have you. And in another, as part of another month, it comes and says that it is clear for consumption. I think Kenyans are at their very end in terms of their health system. And we have taken in a lot of maybe your aflatoxin and other ingredients that they are not good for consumption, because even that one is just one sector of an industry. What of maybe other areas like millers, sorghums and maybe rice? That shows us how our agricultural sector is a mess. And
you've forgotten mercury in sugar?
Yeah, sure. You see, there is also mercury in sugar and so forth and so on. And these are most of the time, these are ingredients that they are imported into the country, because we understand that saga of mercury in our sugar, it came along with the imported sugar from maybe South Sudan and somewhere where there was that war. And again, we had some maize being imported from Brazil at a particular time, and some years later we found that that maize that was being imported into our country is the same maize that was used for consumption and also for bringing up these ungas. So on my side, I can say the government has let the Kenyan people down, and even apologizing is an understatement. People should have just resigned and go home. You know, if you joke with the health of someone, it's barely like you have prepared him to die. And it's not good enough. I work for the government and I saw the kind of negligence that sometimes happens in different sectors. And as a Kenyan, I say it's toxic and it's bad. So people should just be Kenyans and at least be human beings, especially when we are mandated on serving the Kenyan people. Let us serve them with dignity and with humanity at some point. What I can say is that issue of aflatoxin and our foods being contaminated with some other ingredients or some other viruses and all those things is not even, it's uncalled for and very bad. Yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Oluoch. Now, Mr. Kamau, parting shots from both of you. You see, we've been focusing on government regulations, things that a good population consumes on each and every day. But again, you see, information comes from the government, maybe it gets distorted on the way, or it reaches the recipients, but it's not acted upon well. And as both of you have spoken, it's about mistrust, it's about lack of belief and ability to the government. We want to get way forward now. How can the government approach every other matter when they are telling the citizens, hii maji hapa msikunywe na sababu ni hii moja mbili tatu. Now research institutions like universities, we never saw any university coming on board waseme kwamba wacha sisi to undertake an independent study kuhakikisha kama hiyo sukari iko na mercury ama hiyo nyama, you remember the sodium metabisulfate and what have you. Way forward.
So I would say, first, the issue that we've been having in Kenya is that our politicians are also business people. And this is unlikely if you go to the West and also the East. That the tycoons in parts of America, Europe and Asia are not in any way involved in government. But you find in Africa, and especially in Kenya, all the richest people have been in government. So all these people are also involved in all kind of businesses.
Full time.
So you find we have structures that are laid to make sure that all the goods that we consume are up to date and also are adding value to our health. But you find they're raising these alarms without doing their due diligence, without investigating. Do we really have that issue? So at first I will always take most of these things, and this is wrong, because most of us, we take these things as just propagandas. And I'll say over 50% of all the issues, especially with goods in Kenya, are always raised as propaganda so that a certain good can sell. As we were having the issue with sugar, we were told that there is tons of sugars that were imported during the same time. And this has been crippling our economy, and also the sugar farmers in Kenya. Not only the sugar farmers, also the maize farmers. We had a bountiful harvest last year, and I still feel with all these issues, at the end, the farmer won't get his own side of the bargain. And he worked for a whole year to deliver on the food basket of this country. So the issue is, and this is what should be corrected, is we should respect the channels that we've laid to investigate and work within certain products. We should respect all those institutions. The next thing is the way of communication in Kenya. You've ever seen, even on accidents or any other thing, any other misfortune that happens in this country, the way even you media people report it is wrong, and also the way government handles it is very wrong. We would always get news before the government gives us a touch of the same. So I think it really depends on how we raise these issues and how we take care of the issues before we bring it to feed the public with all these issues. But I feel there is bad blood because the same people who are supposed to defend us are the same people selling these products to us.
Thank you, Mr. Kamau. Mr. Oluoch, you're parting short now. What is the way forward on government regulations, their communication with the citizens, and how further can we achieve the best out of all these processes of regulating consumption, production, supply, and all those in the chain of production?
Yes, first of all, you know, we are living in a digital world, and every stakeholder, that means that in this I mean the citizens, the media, and the government need to read from the same script. The way just John has said, you get there's something that has happened and media people are reporting it differently. And you know, even these media people, in these media stations, they are owned by the same very people. So when something comes that favors the owner of maybe the media station, they will not report it as it's supposed to be. So I think the first thing, let us first, when any information comes, let it be a verified information. For Kenyans to circulate it on social media or even print media, let them first be sure of what they're circulating about. Then the other thing comes to the media. You know, the media needs to authenticate their sources very well. They need to make sure that whatever they are reporting is very concrete, especially on social media handles, because that's where things goes out of hand. When maybe a certain media station posts something, people will take it as it is. Even if you come and apologize later, we've seen cases where a media station has said something, then later on they come and apologize. But at the end of the day, the damage has already been done. Then lastly, about the government, that's where every problem lies on. We have government people that controls different businesses in this country, and they're messing it up. And when they fight within themselves, the common mwananchi suffers. For example, government official A wants to bring something into the country, and the other B is doing the same thing. You'll make sure that he diminishes that one of the other person, so that when he brings his, at least it gets a market. And that's where everything goes wrong. So let us be accountable. The government of Kenya should be very accountable to its citizen, and whatever is coming out from them, let it be a very good and concrete information about any issue that is arising in this country. So when we have all these people, all these stakeholders coming and speaking from the same page, I think all these issues of maybe regulations will be at the par with each and every person.
Thank you very much, gentlemen. Mr. Kamau has given us the technical part of this story on how the government has to do regulations and what happens in between. Mr. Oluoch has taken us through policy and how things can be done in a humane manner. We've taken our time to focus on this matter of government regulations because we believe that what you consume is so much more important to your physical health, to your emotional health, and also to your social well-being. We appreciate your comments, your feedback, and your participation in our social media platforms. For me, Cornelius Omuse, I wish you a good night.
Coming soon on KAK TV.
Live every day, you've got to live single.